Hello, and a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to today's LLM Festival session. We're joined today by the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law to talk to us about what life is like beyond the classroom, so the non-academic side of the entire LLM experience. Just before I hand you over to a friend and colleague, Sarah Dorner, just a reminder today's session is live. If you have any questions, please pop it in the Q&A or the chat facility. We are looking at it and we will endeavour to come around to you as soon as possible. There will be quite a few of you that I just want to say hi and say hello from whichever country you're from respectively. Please do so. Please feel free to pop in and say hi. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Sarah. If you have any questions, I'll be back towards the Q&A. Pop them in that chat. We'll be happy to answer them towards the end. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Gareth. It's a pleasure to be here today. I was trying to respond in the chat already, but of course that only went to the hosts and panelists and not to everyone. So I will get better. We will keep an eye on the chat and the Q&A as we go through today. So absolutely invite you to put your questions in there. If we can't get to it during the discussion, we'll try to save some time at the end to get to the questions there. So just a quick introduction. My name is Sarah Dorner. I am the Assistant Dean for Graduate Admissions and International Outreach at the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law. Our law school is part of the University of New Hampshire. We are the only law school in the state of New Hampshire, and you can actually see it in my background behind me there. I would say in about another week or two, we'll probably look just like that with the foliage this time of year. So while we're part of the university, we kind of stand alone, and we're set in the state capital of Concord, New Hampshire. It's a beautiful little it's a city, but a small town community feel. So we're excited to talk with you a little bit more about that today. Before I start, I'll just mention, since those of you joining us today are interested in pursuing LLM programs, so I'll mention that we offer 3 specialized LLM programs at UNH Franklin Pierce. Our primary focus is intellectual property. So we offer that program here in New Hampshire and online as well through distance learning. We have an LLM in commerce and technology, and then we also offer a fully online LLM in international criminal law and justice. But today we're going to talk to you about kind of everything that happens outside of the classroom during the LLM year. So we'll talk about life here in New Hampshire and in Concord in particular. And then we'll talk about life at the law school, kind of student life, student organizations, support services, networking opportunities, and more. So let me pause there. And what I'll do is ask we have 4 panelists here with us today. So I'm going to have them each briefly kind of introduce themselves just so you know who we have as part of the discussion. So Dean Berger, why don't I start with you?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction of the school, Sarah. My name is Lauren Berger, and I'm the Assistant Dean for Students and also oversee operations at the law school. And Dean for Students role, we really kind of oversee student life. So everything from orientation, which you'll hear a little bit about that later this morning, all the way through commencement, and then lots of things in between. So we oversee social and well-being programming for students. And we have a small group, we have a small team. There's 2 other staff members that work in my department. Another thing that I will also mention, Sarah mentioned that our law school is located separately from our main campus, but just because that's the case doesn't mean that we don't have lots of resources coming in from our main campus to serve students. And we'll have some time to talk about those later today, but my office coordinates with those different departments as well. And I'm glad to be here. Just an FYI, I do have a little bit of a cold this morning.
Oh, it's that time of year. I'm also, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm just getting over one, so I hope yours is a speedy recovery. Thank you. And Justin, let me turn to you so that you can introduce yourself you're a JD student, but president of the Student Bar Association. So I wanted to invite you here to share a little bit about your experience here at the law school and just more about what you do in your role.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, my name is Justin Galuli. I'm a 3rd-year law student in the JD program here at UNH Law. Yeah, I'm also the president of the Student Bar Association, which is like UNH Law's student government. We help organize and put on events on campus. We help organize the over 40 different student organizations that we have at the school. Make sure that people have the resources necessary to put on these great events and programming, create community among different groups of students, and ultimately improve their education in a holistic way, focusing on personal, mental, physical well-being, focusing on ways to supplement their education with extracurricular type of events, networking opportunities for students to take part in, and ultimately just trying to make the community a safer, funner, better place to learn. So I've been involved in SBA for 2 years now, and we are getting better and better as we go. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm also thoroughly enjoying all of the new LLM and international students that we have on campus, and loving every minute of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. I think it's great that you're here because I know with our LLM students, they're here for just one academic year, which goes so quickly. So it's great to have you here as someone who you've had a couple of years at the law school and can speak about your experience. Let me have Emily next. Emily, it's so great to have you with us. We miss having you here on campus. I know Emily just graduated from the LLM in May. So I'll give you a moment to kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, what you were doing before the LLM, and what you're doing now.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning to everyone. My name's Emily. Sarah said I just graduated from the LLM in intellectual property last May. Before going to the law school to take my LLM, I was a legal assistant at a Panamanian law firm. Now I am an associate in the intellectual property department of one of the biggest Panamanian law firms called Morgan and Morgan. If you can look it up, and yeah, I love being here. I hope we can help you to answer every questions you have. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. And then finally, Alan, it looks like you're chatting with someone with the same last name in the chat, which is great. So Alan is a current LLM student. You've only been with us for, less than 2 months now. You arrived here in August. So I think it'll be great to kind of have your fresh perspective. But do you want to share a little bit about your background and what brought you to our law school?
Sure. Thank you, Sarah Donna, about that. My name is Alan Kamau. I come from Kenya. Before joining the law school, I was actively practicing law back at Kenya. And I also made the same journey as you guys are here. I attended such a webinar back in 2024, made my application after the presentation. Immediately after this webinar, I was in touch with Sarah Donna and made my application and started the whole journey process to come to school here. And currently, I'm pursuing my master's in commerce and technology law. Otherwise, I have a lot to say. Being an international student for the first time in America, the first time in a new, different, everything, cultural, everything different. So I'm looking forward to answer your questions. And I also look forward to see you next year as you join us, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to all of our panelists for making time to join us today. I think they each will bring a unique and valuable perspective. We have so much to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. And Alan, let me start with you where we just kind of left off. Again, we mentioned that you've been here a little bit less than 2 months now. Can you tell us just a little bit about the transition to life in the U.S. and at a U.S. law school? How are you finding Concord, New Hampshire? What's been going well for you here?
Thank you about that, Sarah. Actually, when I was moving into Concord, I had a lot of worries, the culture shock, and just for being the first time in America, I was quite anxious and a bit stressed because it's not the normal thing, the normal environment that I was used to. However, even before leaving my country, everyone was in touch, starting from Sarah Donna, uh, the Dean Burger here. So like I could feel like I'm going to somewhere that I feel welcomed already. So when I go to Concord, it's a beautiful town, actually, I can tell you that, surrounded with nature. I've been exploring the nature trails as much as I can because you get a good environment for you to be able to reconnect with nature, relax, quite reading, and it's quite conducive for students, especially in law school. When you know you have a lot of reading, you need also to balance time and other activities. So it's a good environment for you to just have that 1 or 2 minutes to relax within nature, to take that walk. Actually, the school is just next to White Park, which is so convenient for relaxing, even in between the classes. Also, life in Concord is quite good because, as well as how the students are welcoming, you find like the students are from all over. So we have a wide range of diversity. And uh, apart from people being so friendly, also the students in school are so friendly. Students will offer you to transport you from one place to another, show you around the town, even make you explore the facilities around. For me, I didn't know we have African and Asian shops downtown, but someone was like, "Hey, I have seen you're from Africa. I can take you somewhere around so that you can be able to get something that maybe you may need from back home." And I was like, that is really cool. That was so good. And also, the community is quite uh, compact, such that you'll get everything. There are churches, they are depending on your faith as well. Because for me, I'm Christian. I was able to get a church. I joined, I fellowshipped in it, and I was welcomed as well. So there are also amenities such as the gym. You can also associate in it, join your membership. Also, it's a good opportunity for you to have that moment to exercise and work on your body outside the law school. So basically, Concord might seem like a small town, but it has a lot in it that even you can't manage to finish to explore it within one semester or even during the time that you'll be here. So I think I can say that for now. Yes, Sarah.
Thank you, Alan. I think it's always so nice to hear our international students when they first arrive, and just oftentimes they're kind of in awe of their surroundings. And it's such a helpful reminder because I think I've lived in Concord for many years now, so I'm just used to it. And I just, even yesterday, Dean Berger and I went for a walking meeting around the park. And I think I take for granted sometimes that we have the ability to do that and to just access the outdoors so easily and be in such a safe community. So it's always nice to hear, the fresh eyes coming in. So thank you. And Emily, you mentioned that you graduated in May and you returned home to Panama. Whenever I think about you, I think about your knowledge of the coffee scene here in Concord. So I'm curious to hear kind of, what you loved about Concord. Is there anything that you're missing? Any highlights of events or experiences you had while you were here?
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually missing the peace in Concord. Concord is such a quiet town and such a lovely place to live. I live in the city here in Panama, so it's like a rush every day. I have to rush everywhere every time. So I'm actually missing that. I honestly miss walking to a coffee, to a different one every day, because there were like a lot of options that you can choose from. And then I will just like walk to the one that is like right around the corner from the school. But if I like any other day, I want to change my scenario, I will go to the one downtown, like the one that is like right next to the gym. And then we also have like a lot of options in downtown, and all of them are like really good coffee places. I really miss that. I really miss like this slow pace living. It's a good thing like a Concord can bring to you. While studying, you will also like have that whole experience of getting to know like a lot of different places, a lot of different things in Concord that, at least in my case, I wasn't used to. And in general, I think Concord offers you like a lot of different activities and things we can do. Literally every Saturday, there was the farmers market first, and then there was the winter's farmers market. That the difference is like it's an inside place, and that's it. And in general, I think I really miss that, the peace and how like you can literally slow your life there and learn to live with a different pace. Like it's a lot of things, and it's a really good thing for you while you're studying, because that's the most important part, and that's what you're there for actually. So yeah.
I'm remembering, Emily, I think it was very early on when you first arrived. I think you and a few other of your classmates, it was a Saturday, and I think you were walking home maybe from the farmer's market, and I was driving by with my children from the
Yeah.
grocery store, and it was hot. Did you guys want to ride home? So, it is that nice small town feel. And I'm remembering as well because it's coming up. The Concord does what they call First Friday. So the first Friday of the month, they do kind of the shops have some specials downtown and they stay open late. There's usually some food trucks and live music. And the one coming up this Friday is the one that we saw last year together, where the witches were dancing
Mhm.
as they're kind of shifting towards Halloween celebrations. So if I make it, I'll be thinking of you when I'm at that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, Alan or Emily, let me ask either one of you, kind of, international students are offering, they often wonder about where they're going to live when they come for an LLM program. I know that's one of the biggest questions we get as students are kind of pursuing different options and working on their applications. So, can you tell me about housing for international students at our law school, both about maybe, where you lived and then kind of what it looked like for your classmates as well?
I think I can go first. Okay, so about housing, that is quite a big worry for international students. First of all, if you have never been in America, but what I can say, the school has a very good system whereby even from the beginning, the moment you get your admission letter. Once you get your admission letter, it's quite detailed. It gives you information in regards to housing. But what happens even before you reach out to the school to tell them that you're interested in the available options offered by the school on housing, they have already done that. So it's a quite good environment where you feel like the school, like it's ahead of you. It's ensuring that you'll be comfortable such that you don't have to worry. So what happens in housing is that once you reach out to the schools and the options, because there's an option, you can either look for a house to rent outside what the school offers, but there is an option whereby the school has houses whereby you pick depending on your preference. So the school will share a link of the houses available, the rooms and everything. So you have to pick what you want in regards to your preference. So once you pick, the room is reserved for you, and it's quite just within a walking distance from the school, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on the houses available. I think the farthest student that is living in the school property is 5 minutes away from the school. It's quite convenient, and the process is quite seamless. You don't have the struggle, the hassle to start Googling, doing some research on the house. So everything is catered for from the word go. The moment you get your admission letter, you have the instruction there, and the school reaches out to you. So the school gives you a very conducive environment for you to pick the available options that they have. I think if I don't know if I've left something else, Emily can add on it.
Yeah, of course, Alan. I also live in the school housing. My house was literally like crossing the street from the school. It was like less than a minute walk, actually. I share a house with 5 other girls. It was like a really good experience because we got to learn from each of our different cultures. We all come from different places. I was from Panama, then I have like some roommates from India, and then there were also a girl from Ghana. So it was like a really good cultural experience inside the house. We get to like try different foods, and like each of us will cook something different and we will try it. And it was a really good experience. I also know a lot of people that even outside of the law school housing, they have like a lot of opportunities with other houses. I think Concord itself, it's like kind of used to having students all around. So people there will like rent their houses in like shared spaces too. There's a lot of people living in different houses, also like within walking distance. I have friends, I think the farthest one lived like a 4 minute or 5 minute walk from the school, as Alan said. And it's not the school housing itself, it's like outside housing from the city itself. And there were like a lot of different opportunities that people can find a lot of different places to live with also different options like you can choose from.
Thank you, Emily. I know I definitely hear from international students who, well, I think Justin's probably, I think, about to talk about the weather here, but we do get snow in the winter, and I've heard students be concerned about, getting to the law school, getting to campus for class if there's snow. And so, as you mentioned, most students are within walking distance, but not all our professors are within walking distance. And so the law school is very mindful about safety first for students, and will not hesitate to cancel classes or move classes online in the case of bad weather. This usually only happens once or twice a year, and it's usually like exciting and fun that you're getting a snow day. But just know that for anyone who might be concerned about getting to campus if there's snow, is that we're very mindful of everyone's safety. Even those of us who are from New Hampshire and grew up in the snow, we don't want to put people out on the road if it's not safe to do so. So thank you. All right, Justin, let me shift to you now. You're originally from New York, I believe, but you've lived in New Hampshire for several years. Talk to me about the weather here. I know I just mentioned the snow and kind of what students can expect. Many of our students in the LLM program are coming from around the world. They've never seen snow before. So talk to me about what your experience has been like here.
Thank you. Yeah. It is, you get all 4 seasons here in New Hampshire. You get the hot summer, you get the, moderately warm to slightly cool fall and spring, and then you get the cold winter, along with the snow that comes with it. So I will say that the snow can range, right? It can range from like a little dusting to almost nothing, to all the way to, you might get quite a bit of snow, maybe up to your ankles. So I will say that firstly that New Hampshire itself, they're very good at taking care of their roads. I actually drive to school, so I live about 20 minutes outside of Concord, and I've had really no issues driving to school, even during like big snowstorms or anything. The plow trucks are usually out all times of day. They salt the roads. They do a good job with it. If you walk to school, from my experience, the sidewalks seem to be pretty well kept. They make sure the school takes care of a lot of the areas outside the school, to make sure it's safe for students to get inside. Um, you know, I think one of the best investments anyone can make when they get to New Hampshire is to buy a winter coat, just because it will get cool. And especially if you're coming from a warmer climate, it's just a new experience, something you have to get used to. But once you get there, just winter is just such a special time in New Hampshire. It's beautiful. There are plenty of opportunities to do things like winter sports in New Hampshire. So there's tons of people who go skiing or will go snowboarding, sledding. There are opportunities. You can make a snowman. You can do whatever you want in the snow. It's a lot of fun. Just a good break from law school life when you're outside of the school. But along with that, upcoming now, actually right now in the fall, we also have just the leaves are changing, like Sarah mentioned with the background for a little box there. The leaves changing here are another beautiful sight. If you go further up north, you'll see it right now. There's all sorts of shades of red and orange and green, and it'll slowly work its way back down towards us. And it's just, you don't get this in a lot of places. Even where I live in upstate New York, I don't see shades of red on the trees that you get up here. So the natural beauty here is unmatched. Like, it's really, really quite something.
Yeah, we really are so fortunate that in each of the 4 seasons, it looks completely different. And the activities that you can do are different. The law school is taking students apple picking this weekend. That's something we can only do in the fall. In the winter, we go snow tubing. You can only do that in the winter. And then certainly we're so fortunate that we're close to the lakes region for swimming, the White Mountains for hiking, which I know that there was a hike earlier this fall. So we're very fortunate here. So thank you. Okay, we've talked a little bit about New Hampshire and Concord. Let's talk a little bit more, I think, about the law school in particular. Dean Berger, can you share a little bit about some of you mentioned about your role kind of overseeing some of the support services for students. Can you share a little bit more about the types of services our students can access?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was taking a couple of notes just as some of the other panelists were talking, and there was a couple questions that could connect to some of that. One of the things that we actually have really great access to in Concord is bus transportation to other places. So there is it's called the Concord Coach, but students can take the bus to go to Boston or New York City. I actually recently learned there is a bus now. This was not always the case, but that can take students from Concord to New York City. So there is some transportation. I know there's a couple of questions just about that. That's really nice to kind of branch out to of different parts of New England. But kind of getting back to some of those support services. So a couple things I wanted to briefly mention. We do have mental health supports on campus. So we have a partnership where we have a mental health counselor who comes and sees students every week. She's here on Thursdays. That is a service that is provided through students' health insurance. So as international students, you would be required to get health insurance for your stay here. And the university has a really great student health benefit plan. It's actually one of the best ones in the country with both cost and also the services that students are provided as a result of it. We've also partnered with the local YMCA, which is kind of physical fitness and well-being in the United States. But the YMCA does have like gym equipment there. They also have different classes. So if you do yoga or you do cycling classes or other types of group fitness, that's available at the YMCA. The law school also has a small gym here in our building. So we have a couple of weights, we have a treadmill, a bike, an elliptical machine. So that's something that we really think is important, is that students are, of course, here to study law, but also it's really important that they're cultivating other parts of their self. So whether that's physical well-being, mental well-being. So those are just a couple of supports that we have available to students to make sure that really the experience you're getting here is well-rounded and seeing kind of all parts of yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's not common that a law school would have kind of its own little mini gym. Even what we call our jury box, our little cafe right on site. I think we're really unique in having that, and it's great for our students that they have access to these services right on site.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sarah. We do have a cafe right on campus. They're open Monday through Friday from breakfast through late lunch. And the really unique part about our campus is because we're small, kind of everyone knows people's names. So Seamus runs our cafe downstairs. He knows his regulars and the things that students come and get every single day. But there's coffee service there, there's sandwiches, soups. He makes homemade soups every day. He makes homemade baked goods most days. So it's really kind of a special part of our community.
Yeah, thank you. And what about health insurance for students? Can you talk a little bit more, because international students are required to have health insurance?
Yep.
And so can you talk about what that gives students? I know that there was some questions this year about kind of accessing mental health services and if that's covered.
Yeah, it's a great question. We probably don't have time to fully kind of talk about the healthcare system in the US, but the health benefit plan does give students access essentially to the same types of coverage that staff would have through UNH. So if you need to go to the doctor for some reason, you might receive a small bill for that, but the health insurance helps to cover the vast majority of that cost here. One thing I will say is, especially for LLM students, the time that you're here, you might not ever set up like regular care through a primary care doctor. But Concord does have a lot of access to urgent care centers. So if you have a cold or the flu, or maybe you have an injury, it's very easy to access medical assistance for some of those things that you may need to triage throughout the year.
Thank
And
you.
I'll put some information in the chat about the health benefit plan.
Awesome. Thank you. And let me ask you too, while we, in terms of, we talk kind of broadly about the services that are open for all of our students. When you think about our international or LLM students in particular, is there anything the kind of an addition or that we've done for LLM students and our international students to make sure that they're comfortable here and they get some good exposure to American culture?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have tried to kind of establish certain cultural events that happen in the US that we want our international students to be able to experience. So this month, there's one that comes to mind is pumpkin carving. So in the next couple weeks, we'll invite international students to do a pumpkin carving activity. We got kind of gather as a group. We will give all the supplies for students. And it's just kind of a nice way to unwind a little bit. We always talk about like scary movies and Halloween costumes and kind of the culture that is around American Halloween. We also do that for Thanksgiving. So we'll celebrate in November. We have a small kind of Thanksgiving gathering for our international students. So we try throughout the year to kind of find some of those different cultural parts of America that might be unique and gather as a group to celebrate those.
I'm thinking about too how we've started a tradition of just kind of a couple times a year going downtown with students just to get ice cream at a homemade ice cream and candy shop. And the cultural piece of that is that the ice cream portions are huge. And I think students are always, they order a medium and it's like ice cream for a week. And so I'm always, when they come out, I'm like, make sure you get the mini size. You don't need the big one. Thank you. Emily, can you talk a little bit about maybe one or two of the, special events that you attended for international students or even the international student orientation and how that was helpful?
I think my favorite one was the snow tubing. Honestly, I think that was like a lot of like a different experience for me. It was my first time seeing snow and living in the snow before, so I honestly loved that one. The ice cream socials were also good because you get the opportunity to try different flavors and also get to know new places downtown with now not coffee but just ice cream. I remember the pumpkin carving last year too. I've never done that before, so it was also a new thing for me, and I also loved that one. Yeah, pretty much. I think those are the ones that kind of like were like really good and really cool for me too.
Sarah, one other one that I just sorry to interrupt, Emily, briefly mention is we do take our international students to Durham, where the main campus is, every January for a hockey game. So hockey is a pretty big sport for the main campus. And so we kind of gather as a group to go to Durham for that one time, just to see that space, kind of get a sense of what an undergraduate college experience is like.
Yeah, the school brings you there, and then also there's like a different associations within the law school that will organize events, and you can like purchase your own tickets too, and you can get there with friends and have cars and stuff, and it's like a really good experience too. I was going to talk about the orientation. In the international orientation, I think it's a really important one because we'll get to know as a whole, not it's a kind of like an overview of how the American life is. It can be like really different to some people, and they're also like you have to get used to a different path, a different way they have to live. But like I know Sarah and Lauren, they were always there for you, and they will always be there to help you if you have any questions, if you have anything you might need, they will always be there for you.
It's true. We are here for you. Just like Lauren and there was a student from Ghana in my office yesterday, and she's also kind of fighting a cold, but she doesn't know the different medications here in the US. And so I said, oh, let me tell you what you want to take. And I know during COVID many years ago, I think Dean Berger was running out to the pharmacy for some students from India who were sick. So it really is a supportive community here who is invested not just in your success in the classroom, but your overall well-being while you're a student here in the US. Alan, is there anything that you wanted to add about any special events you've attended so far or anything about orientation? No need if you feel like Emily's covered it.
I think so far you mentioned about the farmers market. Also, for me, I managed to attend. And the funny thing is, back at home, I always wanted to try something new on the ostrich eggs, and I was able to buy it here. And for the very first time, I tried an ostrich egg in in the USA. So about the international students orientation, I think as an international student, that is the most important thing you have to attend. That is the first step of settling in school. So for international students, what I can urge you is ensure you attend it, because from there, it's not only about how the school runs, it's also about your personal well-being and also after school, because I've been going through the questions, and people are like, will they get internships and everything? Just on a light and brief answer to that, once you graduate, there's something called the OPT. And it's during the international student orientation that you are told how it works, because we have the Office of the Career Development and Advising. So they are able to advise you on how you can also, uh, let's say, take the courses and the units so that it can be able to get you a good internship opportunity after you're done with your master's. So the key thing for an international student is to attend the orientation, because it caters everything: the life, the school, your future career goals, because you'll meet all these kind of people. They'll advise you. Maybe you came like having one line of thought, but after meeting those people during the orientation, you get to have a lot of ideas. So it's then after that, you have to meet with them individually. Personally, I did that immediately after orientation. I met up with a career and advising group, and they were able to advise me. And also in that, I've seen a question on in regards to the bar exams. Yeah, for me, I was able to get the advice on what I need to do to be able to qualify for the bar exams. So once you attend the orientation, you'll get all those advice, and you're able to tailor your master's program such that you are able to qualify for the New York bar exams. So I think that is all I can say for now.
Thank you, Alan. That's really helpful. And I still smile when I think about you and the ostrich egg. And you kind of became, I think, the mascot of orientation when you came in and shared that story, because it's not common that we would eat ostrich eggs here, but they do sell them at the farmer's market. And so that was just a funny story. But I think what you mentioned about kind of the academic piece is a good segue, that even though today we're focused on kind of life outside the classroom, I do want to talk about some of the academic services that we offer students, especially those who might just need additional support in adjusting to the U.S. legal classroom. Dean Berger, can you tell us a little bit about what we call our academic success program?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So the Academic Success Program it's a small department, but has been established to help students be successful while they are in law school, whether that's in the LLM program or in a JD program. And they will provide kind of custom one-on-one meetings for students if they need specific help on something. So for example, if a student is having a hard time with outlining in a class, they can go and meet with one of our academic success program staff members, and that person will connect with them for 30 minutes or an hour and kind of work through skills that they might need to better outline. Additionally, they'll also work with students just to develop other types of skills. So if a student's having a hard time with time management, for example, they will meet with that student and kind of start working on some of those soft skills, so that as time goes on, that gets a little bit easier. So whether that's sitting one-on-one with them and building out a schedule, or like calendaring when they need to be doing their readings for assignments and when assignments are due. So they'll kind of provide support to students on both those fronts. And then additionally, for students that do take an American bar exam, they will work with students one-on-one who might need some extra support as they are preparing for the bar exam.
Thank you. And I think it's important to note that I think that these services are like encouraged and supported, that
Yeah.
students are like, they're not stigmatized. It's not just like, oh, you're not doing well. Students are actively seeking it out to get that additional support, especially students from outside the US, where it is such a big adjustment to how we do things here. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and one of the person who directs the program, he's also he teaches, so he teaches 1L classes. So it's very common for students to be going and connecting with him or someone else in his department. And there's folks that are available both in person but also online. So if a student prefers not to go and meet one-on-one in person, those options are available too.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'm mindful of the time and I see that we have so many questions, so I'm gonna keep us moving. Justin, let me go back to you and kind of more about your role as, on the SBA, and that you mentioned over 40 student organizations. So can you just share a little bit more about the different organizations that we have and more about your role and what that all looks like?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Student Bar Association, every law school basically has a student bar association. Ours takes a special pride trying to help students, engage in their passions, whether it's something they're personally passionate about or a professional passion or just taking care of themselves. We try to facilitate them in a way that lets them do that, whether that's financial support, actual like going to the event and helping them put it on. So we have over 40 student organizations that range in the type of organization they are. We have student organizations that focus on identity, affinity groups, religious beliefs, cultural backgrounds. We have student organizations that focus on mental, physical, and emotional well-being. We have student organizations that focus specifically on networking and professional development. We have several intellectual property focused student organizations. We have criminal law focused student organizations, public interest, health law. We really cover our bases as far as if there's an interest you have or something you want to do, an activity or a hobby, we probably have it. We have student organizations that focus on just having things like board games and video games for you to play when you need some downtime and to relax. We have student organizations that focus on sports and actual like going out and engaging in physical activity in the community. Like we have everything. So as far as my role with Student Bar Association, I oversee a board of governors and other executive officers who are all students. They are full-time residential JD students. They are hybrid online students. They are even LLM international students on our board. Alan is actually one of our current governors, and Emily is a former governor on our board. So, and they are both. Emily was fantastic last year and did a wonderful job as governor. I have no doubt Alan is going to do a great job as well. So there's leadership opportunities with SBA also. It's a really rewarding experience. You get to advocate for your peers. I think people who go to law school tend to be advocates for people in their lives. So I think it just gives people that kind of outlet to develop those skills as well. And then the last thing I'll just plug for SBA is that we also really try to find new ways or open to new ideas of trying to improve student life. So for example, something that we started last semester was that we have a small student lounge in the school, and now we have a communal school supply uh, uh, like bookshelf. So like if you need any kind of school supplies, it is there for the taking. You can take whatever you want: notebooks, flashcards, pens, highlighters. It's just one of those small things that make law school a little bit easier and make it a little less stressful in your life to have to run to the store every single time you need paper. It's just something to save you some time and energy and money, hopefully. So, it's just an example of one of the many programs we try to put on and ways that we try to help students.
That's such a great example of something so small, Justin, but really so helpful to students. And I think that just gets to kind of the heart of the community feel here. and that, you know, it's not competitive. It's people are out there wanting to support one another, wanting people to be successful. And I think you're right that just, you know, it saves you a trip to the store to get those supplies. And just shows that we're kind of all in this together. So thank you for mentioning that. Emily, anything that you would want to mention about some of the student groups that you were a part of last year, or your role on SBA? I think we've got going to give us like 5 more minutes to kind of chat, and then we'll shift towards the audience questions.
Perfect. Yeah, no, as Justin said, I was one of the governors for the LLM group, the LLM cohort thing. I don't know how you call it, but it was a really good experience because I get to like be involved in the whole experience of being part of the student bar association. You get to make decisions, you get to review things that will like later be happening for us. And then as part of the different school associations, I was part of the Master of the Trademarks associations. As I was like fully immersed into the IP field, I went to get my LLM in intellectual property, and I took full intellectual property courses. It was like a really good thing. I get to know new people, and I even got to meet my roommates for the INTA convention last May. Yeah, last May. So it was a good like opportunity for networking too in the different associations that the law school have. I do remember the Master of the Trademarks. I was also part of the International and Comparative Law Association, and we have a UN field trip. We went to the United Nations in New York. It was a really good experience to like I've never been to New York before. That was my first time in New York. And then I was also at the UN at the same time. So it was like a day of first, as I called it. And I was also part of the Hispanic and Latin Law Student Association as a Latin person. It's a good place to meet friends. I have friends now, like people I usually talk to every day from that association too. So I think you have to sign up to those different opportunities because they will bring a lot of new things to your life, and you will get to know new people. You will get to get new opportunities for networking, and even have the opportunity to get a job if you like use the right tools you have. Yeah.
Thank you, Emily. Okay, let me ask, we talked about kind of student organizations, but then the law school itself will kind of host some special events, kind of more substantive in nature, often through our Intellectual Property Center or our Office of Career and Academic Advising. Can anyone talk, maybe Emily, do you want to talk about, I think you as an IP student, some of the IP events that you might have attended?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was as I said, I was fully immersed in the intellectual property field. I only taught intellectual property courses. I honestly, I think that even though I was taking full intellectual property courses, I also had the opportunity to learn in those different events that the law school offered. I was part of the ipso facto events. Those were organized, I think, by one of the professors at the law school. And each one of them were like different topics from intellectual property that we were not talking about in classes. I remember one when we talk about the different, how the register for Amazon trademarks specifically works. And I have never heard of that before in any of my courses. So that was like a good opportunity to learn something new outside of the classroom, but still being inside the law school. And as part of the Master of the Trademarks Association, we also organize different events with networking opportunities and with also international speakers. There were people like from outside of the US and people from different parts of the US who would just get together in a Zoom meeting and talk to us different intellectual property topics. And those were also organized with the school as part of the like the whole experience of getting to know and getting to be part of the associations.
Thank you. Justin, you had mentioned too, in terms of kind of the networking about something called Inns of Courts that you, and I think Emily also participated in. Can you just mention that briefly?
Yeah, so Inns of Courts, it was a speed networking event that we had at the law school where we invited several lawyers, judges, legal practitioners from all over the state of New Hampshire, and they came to the law school for a night. And law students, LLM students, international students, everyone got to participate. You're dressed up. You're there to meet new potential future employers. You're there to network. You're there to sort of share secrets of the trade and, try and just learn as much as you can from the time you have with them. We would rotate from table to table. Sometimes they were based on like the practice area. Sometimes they were based on like a certain question about legal practice or about what it means to be an attorney or a judge or just a legal practitioner. And it was an amazing event. It was so cool getting to just kind of, just sitting across the table from like a judge or sitting across the table from an attorney who's been doing it for 30 years, and you've just got so much knowledge to absorb from them. You wish you had more time and you don't, but then you can get their number or their email and then you can get more time later. So it was a really valuable event for that reason.
Awesome. Thank you. And Dean Berger, anything that you would add in terms of, professional gatherings and alumni student mixers that go on?
Yeah, great question. And I think one benefit to the law school being in Concord is that it's the capital of New Hampshire. So the access that our students have to, as Justin said, like judges is really unprecedented. Like we have multiple judges who teach classes. They teach elective courses to students. And as a result of that, students do have access to folks in very different ways than maybe in other law schools. A couple other things I would mention is because of that proximity, there's a lot of events that happen where students can connect with alumni. So this past weekend, we had our reunion. The spring semester, we have winter party where there's alumni coming in. So there are plentiful ways for students to connect with networking resources.
Thank you. I know that we are going to shift to questions now. Before we do that, though, just in case we run out of time, I want to just give each of the panelists a chance. If there's anything that we didn't address yet that you want to share, any final reflections or piece of advice for prospective LLM students who are watching this. So let me do that now, and then that way we'll have time to kind of take the questions up till the end. So I'll pause there, and just if you want to go, if there's anything you want to offer, just go ahead and unmute.
One thing, and Sarah, I don't think anyone mentioned this, but I did just want to point out there are a lot of student worker jobs available for international students. So that's just one thing to be aware of, is that departments do have student work positions available to international students. So I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, thank you, because I did see that there were some questions about that in the Q&A, and so I did respond to someone that this F1 student visa restricts you to a maximum of 20 hours of on-campus employment only. So students are eligible to work here at the law school. You can't go out into the community and get a job, and we're mindful of that. So we've really done our best to kind of reserve some jobs for international students. We can't guarantee jobs for everyone, and there is an application process once you're here. It is very rare that a student would work 20 hours a week. It's just between your studies and all of the extracurriculars that we talked about today. So I would say 5 to 10 hours is more typical. And so I say that as like, it's not a way to kind of fund your LLM, but it can be good to have like a little bit of spending money and just get some exposure here on campus as well. So thank you for mentioning that. Emily, I saw that you were off mute. Did you want to add anything?
I just wanted to say, like, I think there's a lot of people are usually worried about the safety in New Hampshire, and I think Concord is a really good place to live because it's a really safe place to live there. You can walk around. There will be people who actually say good morning to you, even though they don't know you at all. People are really nice, and there's also like opportunities to meet people around town, just like walking by and talking to strangers at first. And yeah, I just wanted to add that too.
Yeah, it's so true. It really is that small town feel. I'm thinking about just the other week, my kindergartner was walking home from school with her bigger sibling. So she's almost 5, and she got tired. Her little legs got tired. And somebody saw her, like a neighbor scooped her up, brought her home, and it's like you can really trust the people around you. And I think our international students feel that too. So thank you. Okay, Gareth, let me turn. Oh, sorry, Alan, you're unmuted. Did you want to offer something
Go
before
on,
we?
Alan. Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to say, like, at times people tend to think Concord is not diverse, but I can tell you it's quite the opposite. We have a lot of diversity in Concord, so you'll feel at home, you'll meet every kind of people that you think about. Yeah, so I think that is all.
Yeah, I think we didn't mention this, but one of my favorite community events here in Concord is the Multicultural Festival that happens. It just happened last weekend, actually. And it is incredible the number of different countries, ethnicities that are represented. And it's a great, I mean, there's just amazing food from around the world, cultural performances of music and dancing. It's a celebration of diversity, and it's such a lovely event. So thank you for mentioning that. Okay, Gareth, we'll turn the floor back to you now.
Thank you. First of all, Emily and Alan, thank you for your time. It's really great hearing from a student's perspective, someone that's been there, done that, got this shirt, and you come across so passionately as well. You know, it really comes across really well. So thank you very much. Um, we're going to quickly go through the questions. So I'm going to guide them towards you, and then you can obviously just point them in because I'm just conscious of time. Let's try and keep it to about 5 minutes. One of the areas that we've kind of touched upon, but I want to go into more detail about is the post-graduation opportunities. So you've mentioned, can I work there? Yes, within the law school. So I've graduated. I want to stay within New Hampshire, Concord, Manchester, wherever they are in the States. Can they commute to New York? Is that achievable? Is it achievable to go to other states and perhaps still live in New Hampshire?
Yeah, so I'm happy to address that. So, in terms of staying to work after the degree itself, students are eligible for optional practical training, so they can extend their visa for up to 1 year to work. That does not limit students to working in New Hampshire. And typically, while we do have some students who fall in love with New Hampshire and do choose to stay, many are looking for experience in different parts of the country as well. So, our students will travel to New York, California, Texas, Georgia. I mean, they go all over depending on the job that they find and what's the right fit for them. Then we find that many of them who stay past that end up coming back to New Hampshire or the region for different reasons. But there are opportunities to work. It is hard to find a job. So I think, I want to be transparent about that. This is true for our USJD students as well. You have to put in a lot of effort. When I hear international students talk about placement, no one is placing you in a job here in the US. We are helping you. We're helping, our career services team they're working with you on your resume, your cover letters, interviewing skills, networking skills, but they're certainly not handing you a job. They're going to do their best to connect you with jobs that they're aware of that are a good fit, to connect you with our alumni network and employers who have hired our students in the past. But you do have to put in a lot of effort. And so it can be very challenging. We've had a lot of success stories. We've got some that we've posted up on our web. And then students like Emily, they choose to return home after that. They are looking to leverage the LLM in their home country. So we see about, I would say 50-50 each year of kind of students who want to stay to work for a year and students who are planning to return home.
Excellent. And there will be many students that have a plan in their head as well, Sarah. And I think I'll take you back to an hour ago when one of the first things somebody said was you're actually only in this for one academic year. It feels like so much longer with the preparation. But realistically, they need to start looking and put an emphasis and shifting the emphasis onto employment about 3 months in, don't they? If they're really serious and they want to research it and not feel like they've left it until the last moment to do it, they need to be doing a little bit less every day, don't they?
We have our Office of Career and Academic Advising. Dean Berger invites them to international student orientation so that they are setting that stage early, that from day one, you really do need to start thinking about this. I think that our LLM students are really fortunate in that currently the person who teaches their foundation course, American Legal Process and Analysis, is actually the dean of our career services office. So he's really getting to know them personally and reminding them about how they need to start, moving on this. And then in January, our Office of International Students and Scholars who help with the visa process, they will do an information session about kind of the mechanics of applying for optional practical training from a visa perspective. So you're right, it does start early, and we are here to remind students of that.
Excellent. Emily and Alan, if I can come to you at this point, there's been a lot of questions and chat in the chat box there about how safe it is and For an international student, that can be quite, it's an anxiety-driven thing, isn't it? You're moving from your respective countries to perhaps a country you've never been to, a state you've never heard of, perhaps an area you've never heard of. So, how easy did you find it to settle into not only the local culture, but settle into your program also? Because it's important to, yes, where you live is very important and where you're settling in is important, but obviously the program that you're studying as well and how comfortable you were within that. How important was that? Emily, if I can start with you and then we'll move on to Alan.
Yeah, no, at least in my case, I think Panama, it's a really similar culture to the US. I have been to the US before. I have never been to New Hampshire before, and I think New Hampshire is a different perspective of what we know about the US itself. It's like it feels like you're in a different place, even though you are in the United States. New Hampshire offers a lot of new things for me, and I think it was a really safe place in general. You can walk around like late at night, nothing will happen. Um, and I think it's coming from a place like Panama, at least for me, once again, it was not that easy to get settled in because we have like a really similar culture. But you have people there that will help you get settled. You don't have to worry about it. You will get settled. You will make friends on day one. And in general, it's a really good place to live.
And yourself, Alan, what were your experiences?
My experience in regards to safety, I can say Concord so far is a very safe place because everyone is friendly, everyone is welcoming, everyone will want to greet you, know where you are from, and they'll just pass the generosity in case of anything. Don't be afraid to reach out, even the neighbors. So you find like you belong to a community that you are not there, but now you found yourself there and they welcome you. Otherwise, you can walk. I come from the library as late as 10 p.m. I walk to the house. It's quite safe. At times, you want to go downtown, look at how things are happening at night. And it's quite convenient because you can just take the walk, come back. Even when you're going to the nature trails, everything is quite safe. You find people there, just say hi. And so far, so good, I can say. And it gives a good environment to settle in, knowing that people are there to help you and also they're watching your back. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Alan, you're
Sarah,
reminding
go on.
me that we neglected to mention as we kind of talked about New Hampshire being more of like a residential, a quiet area, good to focus, that we completely neglected to mention that we're just 1 hour from Boston, Massachusetts. We talked a little bit about getting to New York, but there's a bus that runs every hour from Concord to Boston. It takes about 1 hour to get there. And so Boston is, I think, a major city that most international students are familiar with. So very easy to get there and back in a day by bus. I think students do that, but I think they find that they're pretty busy here in New Hampshire as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. I just want to re-emphasize as well, just before we wrap up with yourself, Sarah. Um, you're never far away from anywhere in the USA, really, within finding a big major city, the hustle and bustle. Boston, like Sarah mentioned, is an hour's drive away. If you wanted to go to New York, it's not a million miles away. The USA, although can be painted sometimes in a negative light when it comes to safety and how you will feel as an international student, is a wonderful place to live and a wonderful place to study. And that's been backed up by many people through our LLM studies. So there's absolutely no worries for international students whatsoever to think, is this the place for me? And just to elaborate further on that, in the UK, where I'm based, anywhere in the northeast of the USA is kind of seen as one of the nicest places in the USA. And just looking at the background of Sarah's photo there and background of Sarah's Zoom there, it looks very quaint. It looks very nice, beautiful part of the world. You get snow, you get sun, you get everything you need. So I would encourage anyone to find out more information about New Hampshire, about Concord, like Lauren's mentioned quite a lot, which is great. Sarah, just to wrap things up quickly, if a student is interested and wants to move forward, and there will be many people like they've asked questions about, can I apply for this course, scholarships? When are the intake dates and when do students need to start looking? Let's say if they were next September, when do students need to start looking?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So our next start date for our in-person LLM program here in New Hampshire is in August. And now is the right time to be applying. We will accept applications. Our priority deadline is not until May 1st. I strongly encourage students to apply really by March at the very latest, because the visa process can take some time and you can't move on to that process until you've been admitted to a law school, typically made a tuition deposit to indicate that you're coming. So now is the right time to be looking into programs, starting your application. Many law schools in the US require students to apply through a central portal through the Law School Admissions Council. That can be convenient if you're applying to multiple schools. It does come with some additional fees. So our law school is unique in that we do have a separate online application where students can apply directly to our school. So I just put in the chat an email there if you have questions about that process. But now would be the right time to really be looking into programs, and starting to gather your application materials. Most schools are going to look for your complete academic records, your transcripts, your resume, a personal statement, and then 2 letters of recommendation. So if you haven't already started to gather those materials, now is the right time. And I know I responded to a couple of questions about English language requirements as well. Again, most schools do have an English language requirement. They will vary from school to school. By and large, law schools will accept the TOEFL and the IELTS, but their minimum score thresholds will vary. So make sure you check that. And then not all, but some schools, and we are one of them, will oftentimes waive the test requirement if you come from a country where your degree was taught in English, where English was the medium of instruction.
And that's a huge coup as well. Not everywhere does that, and that's a real comfort away from home as well. Just to finish off on the programs offered, someone did ask earlier about can I study online, and obviously I believe you offer an LLM in intellectual property and criminal law and justice as well. So if you're not able to make it, it could be varying circumstances such as finances, family. Just not the right time for you in your career to move to the States. There is that online option as well, isn't there? So
Yeah,
um,
yep. And that online program also, it has the August start date, just like the in-person, but it also has the January start date. So for students who are kind of ready to go and want to start online, we're accepting applications right now, for the program beginning in January, with a priority deadline of November 15th. So still time to gather those documents and get your application in.
Superb. Everyone, thank you for your time. Sarah, thank you for narrating today. It's been a huge success. And to all of you watching as well, these webinar sessions are only good and informative if people tune in and watch them. And there's been such a popular session today with such great engagement. So I thank everyone for watching. If anyone has got any questions, missed anything, any concerns, anything at all, please communicate directly with the law school. They'll be happy to help you. We will be sharing your details for everyone that's registered directly with the university, so they will reach out to you at some point. Bear with us, it's a very busy time of the year, so I'm sure they will reach out. But if you do have any questions, you can email ourselves webinars@postgradsolutions.com, or you can reach out to us directly from the email that we will send with a copy of the video. But for now, Justin, Sarah, Lauren, Emily, and Alan, thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Hopefully, I think it might be January, February, if not later on in the year. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.